Okay, so can anybody hear me now? There we go. Well done. Well done. Yes. Did you have to go elsewhere or did it just reconnect? Hi there. Welcome back. Sorry, I really did have to show you the kitchen, though. You understand that, right? So did you had to reboot the video? Okay. But yeah, I know you guys, you're smart enough to realize what I had to do. I always have great faith in you. Yeah, and it's a really quite an old house, a small old house. And basically, um, they used to have a really small kitchen, and they blew out the whole of the kitchen and the dining room area and the walls between the into the living room, and then they took up half of the garage and built this beautiful sit-in kitchen. And that's obviously where I am right now. And it's just all beautiful, granite countertops. And the my host is into cabinetry and stuff, so he's got all the right um, equipment. Let's put it that way. So very exciting. Now I want to know, I had problems at the border. Now I can tell you, or I can put it in a vlog. It always worries me when I tell you guys on the broadcast, because then it gets repeated on the vlog. But I guess that you probably want to hear anyway, right? So wait a minute. I need to get what I had with me just so that you can see. So what I did was I put some of my artwork into a box so that I could give a couple of people some gifts, but also leave a couple, because I'm going to be talking at the local Rotary Club and they always have auctions and things. So I signed a couple of them so that they could auction them off. And if they make a couple of bucks, that's great. So here are the ones that I had with me. I had this one. Some of you remember this one. And I had this one, which I love. It's funny, I actually took a lot that I really like, which surprised me. This was the Waterfall of Thoughts, or whatever it was called. And then I bought this one. And then I bought two black and whites, this one. And this one. Okay. So I get to the border and where are you going? So I told him, and that was fine. And he said, are you taking anything down with you? And I said, go to the shop, Sarah. Except they won't be available after this weekend. So he said, are you taking anything with you? And I said, actually, yes, I've got a couple of presents for people. And oh, I've got one more. Hang on. And I've got this one. Hang on, let me see if I can get the light right on that one. There you go. Whoa. Okay, so I said, I just want to show you one more thing, and it's here somewhere, I hope. Oh, not there. Not there. Oh, there it is. So, and also I did a special card for them as well, right? So the guy says, are you taking anything with you? And I said, well, yes, I've got a couple of bits of artwork. And the guy said, what are you going to do with that? And I said, well, I'm going to give it away. And I said, in a couple of pieces, this is where I made a mistake. A couple of pieces I'm going to give to the local Rotary Club because they've invited me to speak to them on Monday, and they can auction it off whenever they want to. Ah, so you're a vendor. You understand now the fact that they were going to auction it for money, even though I wouldn't get the money, now suddenly I was a vendor. So now they've got to charge me to do that. They're going to charge me to bring it in so I can give it away. How many of you are going, that is insane? Never mind, you don't mess with the border, right? So I went, okay, fine. So, so then I went inside and I went to go and pay the $13 that he told me to pay. And I went to the cashier, and the cashier said, but you have to go to the lineup first and have the, border people interview you first. And I'm going, okay, this is getting worse, right? Because, luckily there was little to no lineup. So I wait, and eventually I get this guy, and he's a new guy, and I can tell he's a new guy because the writing on his hat is, sparkly. It's so new. So the guy says to me, okay, why have they sent you in? And I said, because I'm bringing down some artwork, and they seem, to think that I may need to pay $13 on it. Why? I said, well, because I'm going to donate a couple of pieces to the local Rotary Club where I'm going to speak on Monday for an auction. When's the auction? I said, I have no idea, but I know that Rotary has auctions a couple of times a year at least. So therefore, there will be an auction. You get my thinking, right? So then the guy now decides he's got to look in my car. I said, oh, you poor thing. Okay. So I gave him the clicker for the car, and off he went. And he looked, obviously through the paintings, and he looked elsewhere. I'm sure he checked every bag. But the thing was, he came back and he said, okay, no problem. And I said, well, it isn't artwork, right? It was just artwork. And he said, yeah, I saw that. And then he said, no, you're fine. You can go. So I said, thank you. So I went to go, and I said, by the way, how was the art? He said, very pretty. I said, yeah, okay. But what I thought I would do is read you this. I wanted to talk a little bit to you. By the way, I went to go and pay the $13. Remember the story that the guy had said, I'll have to pay $13. So I left the border guy, and I went to the cashier and took my piece of paper and said, there you go. And I started to get money out, and she said, what are you doing? I said, well, the guy at the booth told me I'd probably have to pay $13. I've cleared the guy at the border, so I'm here to pay the money. She said, no, he's not asking for the money. They've cleared you outright. And I went, oh, that's good. Okay, so now then, do you know why you do what you do in your life? And the reason I say that, some of you will have heard me read this to you before, but I am bringing this down to talk about it on Monday. But it's something I have hanging in my house that reminds me why I spend the hours that I spend, for example, with young people. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand that if you don't know why you do what you do, start, writing your own epitaph, start writing down what you want people to say about you after you've gone, and start living the life that will create that. Does that make sense? If you want them to say you were a really, generous person, start giving money now. Yes, and that's what I did. I want to tell you something, Sakura. Probably 30, 40 years ago, I wrote my own epitaph. I wrote what it was I wanted them to say about me. And what I wrote was, here lies Sal, who cared enough to share, shared enough to make a meaningful difference, and by so doing became a gentle giant inside. because that was something I could ask myself every night. Did I care enough to share today? Did I share enough to make a meaningful difference in somebody's life? Because if the answer to that is yes, then I have had a good day and I have lived my epitaph. Make sense? And so I wanted to talk a little bit to this thing that I have hanging in my house. And I thought that some of you I know have heard it before, but I'm going to read it again because I really do believe in it deeply. It says, 100 years from now, it will not matter what kind of car I drove, or how much I was earning, or how many letters I had behind my name, or whether I had the nicest office. Hi there, Lauren. Whether my files were the most up to date, or how many cases I closed, whether I achieved great professional importance and was admired by my peers. Probably few will even be aware whether I'd done any great work at all. But it may matter a great deal if I was valuable, if only for a short while, in the life of a child and made a difference in his or her life. So, hi, Kenny. So, do you understand? I read that every day. I think about my epitaph every day. And that's my why. Why do I do what I do? Why do I travel and make time during my travels to come talk to you? Right? Because I know it might help somebody. I know that it might make somebody's day. And by the way, Erin sent me an update that she gave me permission to share. So if any of you are okay with that, then I'd like to share that with you. It's warm in here. Because it's got quite a lot of information in it. And she was kind enough to let me say I could share it with you. And I know a lot of you care, as I do, a great deal about Erin. So are you guys good if I do it now? All right, here we go. Thank you, Jody. This is what Erin said. Hi, hello, Sal. I almost forgot that I told you I would email you. Well, I went to the doctor yesterday to see my primary doctor to get some blood tests for my liver numbers. My primary doctor is a doctor that's handling my blood sugar. Unfortunately, I had to tell her that my blood sugar has been good for the last 6 days. Now it seems to be normal in the morning, but spiking up at night into the 200 range. Not sure why. I've stayed on my diet and I couldn't cheat if I wanted to. She decided that we're going to wait another 2 weeks and then I will do another blood test for her to see what average my blood sugars have been over the last 6 weeks. If it's high, I will be put back on insulin, which would be a major setback because that means I cannot go home on insulin. So we will see what happens on the 27th of April. And Jody, if you could make a note of that for me, please, I would appreciate it. 27th of April, Erin, blood tests. All right. Actually, sugar tests, insulin. Wait. What are the tests? They are the blood sugar tests. Yeah. I'm sure that you got it, Jody. All right. So I made the mistake. This is where she continues. I made the mistake of looking at my blood test results. Oh, gosh, Erin, I know that one. We are so nosy, aren't we? When I got back here, and it seems that my liver enzymes are higher than they were before I started on the new meds. Now, this could have happened when I was just on the prednisone by myself, or maybe the new medication just hasn't been given time enough to work. We will see what happens, and we will see maybe, we'll see what happens this week. And then when I talk to the doctor on Monday or Tuesday, what she wants to do. But I have a feeling that I may be going on to a higher dose of this new medication. I was really discouraged by the fact that my liver numbers are higher because it means that it will now take a bit longer to get off the prednisone. I know I just have to wait it out and things will happen all in good time. I'm very concerned about being able to go home. For those of you who don't know, Erin is in a really great group home that she's been in. All right. And so she says, the longer I'm here, the better the chances that they will give my room to somebody else. They are holding it for me longer than they are supposed to because nobody wants to see me move. However, I know they're losing a lot of money with me not being there. And technically, they only have to hold the bed for me for 7 days. I know it's not the end of the world. And if I have to move to another house, that house has become home. Those people have become my family, and the thought of having to move somewhere else makes me very sad. Anyways, enough rambling. Thank you for taking the time to care about me. It's my pleasure, Erin. And, and for taking the time to listen, or should I say read. Haha. Feel free to share any of this. I hope that you're having a great Saturday. Love always, Erin. What I wanted to share in this is Erin's incredible spirit. Do you hear that she might not be able to go back to the group home that she's been in? And she understands that, and yet she is just okay. I mean, she's sad, but she's not freaking out or, doing a big thing about it. And I think that is, yes, let's all send up prayers for Erin that the blood sugar levels, settle down so that she can go back. But how many of you believe that it just is meant to be and what will be sort of thing? And if she's meant to stay, I personally, I know it's very selfish of me. I'd rather she was in the right place for her medical needs at this time and maybe if necessary, get back to the group home another way later. To me, I just, the mother hen in me just wants her to be safe at this time. Hi, Forever Young. Yes, my Dan Sember shirt, my favorite one. I really love this one. Actually, my black one is my favorite one. I've also got that one with me, I think. I just like my Dan Sember shirts. So I just always am so amazed. Erin's got so much stuff going on in her life all the time. It's like Jody, right? And they seem to be able to do and have a much better attitude than the rest of us. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but I just get inspired by it. I don't know about the rest of you. It's just like, wow, she's got all that going on, and yet she can still just almost laugh about it. And it's just amazing. And so kind of her to let me share it with everybody, because I know so many of you care as deeply as I do. So the whole issue, Erin, Erin is in here, isn't she? Hang on, I got to check the participants. I hate it that I can't see this at the same time. Oh, I thought she was in here. Oh, okay. I'm hoping that she will come back in. Now, the reason I hope she will come back in is because I am in this community. For those of you, you remember I had that problem last time where I clicked a screen and I couldn't get rid of it again? Yeah, I've done it again. Go away, screen. I don't want you anymore. Yeah, I think what happens, I believe what happens is that we are reminded of how lucky we are, or that's how I look at it anyway. I always take whatever it is that Erin's dealing with or Jody's dealing with as a benchmark for myself and going, well, getting stopped at the border isn't so bad by comparison. Yes, and exactly as we did with Ashley when she was with us. Yeah, I quite agree. It's better than their positivity. It is their reality. You know what I mean? They live. I really have to say this. Erin has learned to live in today. It's like she doesn't know what's going to happen tomorrow. She doesn't know. She doesn't hang on to yesterday. She lives in today. And I hate to say this, but it's a lot like a dog, and I don't take that the wrong way at all, please. But what I mean is that dogs don't hold grudges, right? Dogs just live in the moment. And so I think that's why Erin is so impressive to me, is she is able not to get tied into, well, I used to be able to do this and I used to be able to do that, but I can't do it anymore. And I used to have this great home and I might not be able to go back there anymore. She doesn't get tied into that. She just goes, I don't like it. I'm sad, but it's not going to be the end of my world. I'll make a plan. And I think, it's the same way as I look at, if we want to be happy, there is the key. The key is to deal with what is in front of you as opposed to what you fear might be coming or what you're scared of letting go of. It's like, if today is the only day you have, can you be happy in it? Does that make sense? And it's the same way as I have come to visit these people that I have never stayed with before or anything else. And they are such gracious hosts. But, they're gracious because I just went, okay, I need to know, do you want me to be a guest or family? How many of you know that the way you behave as family is very different from guest? So that's always my first question. Just so that I'm clear, because I need to know the definition here. Would you rather I was family or a guest? And you get to make that call. And as soon as they said, well, of course, family, Sal, and I said, fine. And I was starting to walk towards the coffee maker. And they're trying to help me. I said, excuse me, I thought I was family. So if I can't find what I'm looking for, I'll ask. And they just burst out laughing. And I said, fair enough. So I did. I looked in the obvious places, because if I were family, I'd be opening up the drawers, wouldn't I? And then I made the coffee and I went to the fridge because that's where people keep milk, But it took me a little while to find the sugar. I did actually agree to get some help on that one. But then, they put down some snacks for me, but it's, every time I wanted a snack, I needed to get up and go get it. And then, the Mary said, Ray, bring those snacks closer to Sal. And I looked at her and I said, I need the exercise, really. And by the way, I am a big girl and an adult. If I need those snacks closer to me, I'll bring them. I'll just play guest for a while. And the rest of the family can come and eat them with me. And so, but do you understand what I'm saying? I'm glad that Sarah understands that the way you treat a guest is very different from the family. So to my mind, it was like, I want to know if I've got the run of the house. I've even brought my own food with me because I didn't want them to have to cook for me, right? Because I know they're going out. And I just said, I'll bring my own food. Don't you dare cook for me. So I bought something out of my fridge at home and I'm going to warm it up after the broadcast. I said to them, well, I just want to know, because I got the moving truck coming as soon as you leave, and I'm going to be walking off with your stuff. But I just wanted to know, what time are you likely to be back so that I can make sure I'm out of here before you get back. They said, don't worry, we'll phone you half an hour before we get there. I said, okay, fine, that'll give me time to get everything out. But, it was just, did you understand that sort of attitude? It was really fun. Yeah. Oh, Erin, I'm so glad that you're still there. So, Erin, I just want you to know, and I think you know that already, but, I just want you to know that you really are an inspiration to me in so many ways. And it's just like, good question, Nana. Did I feel like family or a guest? Somewhere in between those two. I would not feel comfortable opening up any of your drawers. If I know you want my honest answer. I don't think that you would have liked that, and so I wouldn't have felt comfortable doing that. Whereas in this house, it's not about them being clean. I'm sure they're all clean, but it's just about, I think that's a boundary that I wouldn't want to cross. But if you ask for my answer, don't call me wrong. It's about, I wouldn't feel comfortable. Just that's my feeling about it. So It's like I wouldn't let anybody near my car to help me pull the stuff out of the car because my car is such a mess. And I actually said to the border guy, when he came back, I said, "I'm so sorry. If I'd known you were going to be in my car, I would have tidied it a bit." How many of you can imagine me saying that? He said, "I've seen worse." I said, "Not much, I'm sure." So, to me, it's about, there's something about these people that's so normal. Do you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I did get mad because you looked in the car. That's right. Because you're a tidy person, Nana, and I'm not. How many of you can see my perspective here? Um, I admire people who keep their cars beautifully tidy. Hmm. No, I just embarrass myself. I do it to myself totally, Nana. I don't blame you at all. No, they don't tidy things up. They don't have to. It's they really have no, what do you call it? No obligation to tidy up after they've looked through your stuff. And quite honestly, it didn't look any different, so I'm not even sure how much he opened up. Yeah, I know that, Jody. So, to me, it's not about anything other than the fact. And the thing was that they had said to me when they realized that they had double booked and they needed to go out. They had said, if you like, we can get somebody to take you out to dinner. I said, "Don't you dare." I wanted to be here and feel like it was home and that they felt quite comfortable, leaving me here without supervision. And they were busy showing me how to use the television. I said, "I'm not going to have time to watch television." I said, "I've got people waiting for me to broadcast. And by the time I finish the broadcast, you'll probably be back." Which is why I said, make sure you call before you come back. It's nothing like telling people they got to phone their own house before they come home, right? So now the other good news is, how many of you were on the broadcast when Sophie was telling me about this program that she was using to edit with, called, hang on, Light something. I'll tell you in 1 or 2 seconds. Lightworks, right? Well, I got news for you. If you don't know what you're doing with editing, don't go near that program. Because I have got 5 years of editing experience and about 6 different programs behind me. And I got news for you. That is not an easy program. But, you see, Jody knows me so well. And that makes me laugh, when people know me this well. Because Jody knows that just on principle now, I'm going to learn how to use it. Jody, I burst out laughing when you sent me that note. It's like, oh yeah, she knows me really well. But of course, being who I am, I immediately, Sophie's on holiday. Where did she say she was going this time? Rome, right? Hi, Beth. Welcome. So she's on holiday, and I wrote to her and I said, "This is your own fault. If you hadn't mentioned this stupid program to me, I would not be sending you this note. Now you need to tell me, how do I do this, that, and the other with something before I, get frustrated with it." I will not be beaten by a pure piece of, programming. I have been doing computers since they came up with the first personal computer, the Atari, I think. It had less stuff in it than my watch. You know what I mean? Way less. I think didn't even have a mega anything. It had kilo things. It didn't have mega things at all. Never mind gigas or anything like that. So, and the first one I had, I know this will be difficult for some of you to believe, you actually had to know how to program to be able to get it to do what it did. That first Atari that I had, you had to know how to program in, what was it called, Jerry? ASCII. Is that right? You actually had to know how to program. How many of you know? No, it was before DOS. Oh, It was before DOS. DOS was Microsoft's first one, right? Yeah, it was before Bill Gates came up with DOS. Anyway, so but the thing was, how many of you can know that I just went, and I went I went to the store, bought myself 2 cartons of cigarettes because I smoked heavily in those days. Bought 2 cartons of cigarettes and came home and taught myself how to write computer code and wrote a book in 10 days. Did I sleep? Not much, no. And there are probably a couple of you that are not surprised to hear that. It was like, I am going to learn how to do this because I want to learn how to do this. And it was just how much coffee and how many cigarettes did I need so that I could do it. And eventually, and now I know you weren't surprised, Jody. But again, it's what I keep saying to you. What is it that you quit on all the time before you ever get good at it? I know, Kerry, you can see me, right? What? And then what the? Yeah, it was very difficult. I'm going to tell you something. But it was a lot. Once I got the hang of it, was a lot quicker than trying to do letraset on overhead slides. Before we had all the technology we have today, if you wanted to do a presentation, you had this little bit of plastic that you actually had to put letraset on letter by letter by letter. And I assure you, I was very motivated to learn how to use this computer thing, whatever it was called. It were going to save me doing that. Yay, bring it on. So 2 cartons of cigarettes later, I learned how to code. Sort of. Enough for what I needed anyway. That's all I needed. Yeah, coughing uncontrollably, hacking my lungs out. You're quite right. It's terrible to think about it now. But I remember it well 50 years ago. Actually, when you think about it, that's what it was. Isn't that scary? I didn't think it was that old. Okay, Jody, when did the first personal computers come out? Not the first computers, the first personal computers come out. Could you check that for us? Yes, you had to put on all these. Yes, I want to tell you something, Erin. You have no idea how difficult it was. No idea whatsoever. If you wanted to change to bold, you had to do about 16 different keystrokes to get there. No, not the color computer. The first personal computer. It was before color. The original Ataris were black and white, I think, Nana, but that's what I remember. Maybe I'm just remembering it incorrectly. It was before we had color on computers. Yeah, before DOS. 1975. That sounds about right, Jody. Thank you. Yeah. And does it say which one it was? Who made the first personal computer? I know the first one to hit Africa was an Atari. And it was kilo somethings. We thought that was incredible. It got this memory. It was way before the internet. Oh, yeah. They never heard of the internet then. And I think I was one of the first people. No, you had a floppy disk. I think the first one I had a 8-inch floppy disk that went in. Gosh. If you see the original Apples, they had floppy disks. Yeah, you had the tape one as well. Yeah. So, but no, I seem to remember that the first ones had the floppy disks, not the hard disks, the floppy disks. The big one. It was about, how big would it have been? I'm thinking about 4-inch square. Not the hard ones, that came later. Yeah, I know. I'm that old. Yeah. But so when I get a program like the one that Sophie suggested, you understand I'm going, you think you can beat me? You're looking at somebody who learned how to program a computer when she had no idea how to do it. Yes, the hard ones are still called a floppy disk. Yeah, that's why I'm saying not the hard ones, the original floppy disks. That's it. No, the hard disks came much later. It was as big as your face. That's right. That's the one. They actually were floppy. Yep, and they were about this big, square. And you put them into the computer, and we thought it was miraculous. They probably held about, yeah, a couple of kilo somethings. Well, it's not that, no, it's some things have beaten me, husbands, but it's like, um, if I want it badly enough, I will find a way around. Oh, okay, Lauren. No problem at all, honey. We're just pleased to see you. How are you feeling? Do you want to give us a bit of an update on how when do you have your test done, today or tomorrow? Monday your time would be tomorrow my time, I think. Yeah. You got two lots of tests, right? Monday and Tuesday your time, which would be Sunday, Monday our time. And what did you have for dinner? I'm bloody minded, Sakura. There's nothing innovative about me. It's just like, you see, I look at it this way. It's like it's a machine. I just have to know there is a way to tell it what to do. I've just got to find out what the way is. And how many of you have noticed that? Have any of you done this one where you're sort of sitting there and you accidentally hit two keys and it does something magical? Have you ever done that? And you're going, what did I hit? And then you spend the next 3 hours trying to do all the combinations that you might have hit. Have you ever, by accident, made your screen, instead of be landscape, turn around? So you got to lie on your side to read your screen. Have you ever done that? There is a combination of keystrokes. Yeah, you don't know how to repeat it, right? But this particular thing that I'm capable of doing, I'm not quite sure which keystrokes it is, but you can do about 3 keystrokes together, and this thing turns the whole screen the wrong way round. And I end up going, okay, how did I do that? And Control Z does not make it go back to the right way. The urine test was clear. Good. I'm pleased to hear that. The headache isn't as bad. The roast chicken. Listen to this. She's in hospital, people, and she's getting roast chicken, potato, pumpkin, peas, fruit salad for lunch. Yeah, she's had fish and chips twice this week. I tell you, I mean, if I have to go to hospital, I'm touching wood that I won't. But if I have to go to hospital, I'm going down to Oz. Yeah. Yeah, it took you an hour and a half, an hour to fix it. So, but how many of you have gone, that actually is a very nifty thing, and then just gone and Googled to find out how to do it? I normally run to my phone and try and ask it on my phone how to undo what I just did. So sometimes it's a good thing to make the mistakes. How many of you have learned some of your greatest things by making a mistake? Post-it notes was a mistake. What else? Teflon was a mistake. What else, guys? What else do you know we appreciate today because they made a mistake? The covering on Gillette razor blades was a mistake. Anybody think of any others? You didn't consult Google until you were out of college. I mean, really, I have to ask that. How different would your life be today if you didn't have Google anymore? It's just like, Yeah, I'm driving in the middle of nowhere and I go, okay, Google, tell me where I am. Yeah. Or I was saying, please, text my host and hostess and tell them I'm late. Yeah, you know something there, Kerry. It's, the reason why you will always be successful in your life, Kerry, is because you're prepared to try. And that's part of what I want to talk about what I learned about young people. You see, young people are so magical because they're prepared to try and fail. And old farts, unlike some, but old farts get so stuck in their ways they don't try new things anymore. And it's just like, no wonder they're boring, right? Okay, listen to this. Oh my God. So Erin got turkey spaghetti sauce, green beans, and sugar-free red jello. I guess the turkey was supposed to be like the meat in the spaghetti that everybody else got. Hey, you got food, Erin. Okay, and Kerry's saying, I'm repeating these things because when people hear this on the replay, they can't see what's being typed because I canceled the feed. But Kerry's going, I fail more than I succeed. And that's why you succeed, Kerry, because you keep trying. And I love you for it, right? And Sakura is saying that popcorn walls and yes, can you remember the popcorn walls and ceilings? We would be lost without Google Maps, wouldn't we? I mean, if you could have seen me, I was busy driving today and I literally just pressed my phone and got to Google Maps and said, take me to, I'm in a place called Langley on Whidbey Island. And it was just like, take me to Langley. And it did. um, and then, now listen to me. Yeah. How smart I am. I'm in my car and I'm trying to phone my host and hostess to let them know that I am I'm in the local metropolis. The local nearest town. It's one of those places that you do not want to close your eyes because you missed it. Do you know what I'm I'm talking about here? And this is like, quickly look because that was town. So anyway, I was in town and I stopped, for the obvious reasons at my age. And my phone was running out, but I wanted to tell I wanted to tell them that I was that close, to give them a heads up. And so I'm saying, I'm really sorry, my phone's dying, but I am this close. I'll be there soon. What I forgot was I had specially charged up my power pack. I didn't need to be worried. I just had to plug it in. Duh. I had it with me. So stupid of me. But never mind. I'll use it on the way home if I need to. I did see some pretty tulips on the way down here, but I didn't have time to stop. I'm hoping next week, when the time is a bit more of my own, I will have time to do that. You know something, Kerry, be very grateful. I think, when I look at and I see the same thing, I that's the thing that amazes me when I see Erin and what a great job her mom and dad did of not protecting her from things that they literally taught her to cope in the real world. Something I want to tell you next time you talk to your daddy, Erin, will you tell him I talk about him regularly because I am really impressed with what he did. And if your mommy was still around, I would tell her as well. You know that. Yeah, I think that is the problem. When we shield children too much or try and protect them too much, they don't learn. How many of you can remember sitting out and eating mud, right? Because it was tasty, or eating grass because if cows did it, why couldn't we? But today, do we allow children to do that sort of thing? Don't touch that, dear. It's got germs. Well, that's how you build immune systems, right? So I think it's rather sad in a way that we I know how many of you can see me making and baking mud pies. That is why you are such a smart woman. and and I'm the idiot. Yeah, I agree with you, Sarah. I think it does a lot of harm. Um, and I used to leave home. I lived on a big farm, but I used to get on my horse at about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't be home until till dusk. I was gone all day. Nana's saying that his son brought in half a worm and said, "We don't eat worms, right?" All right, so Erin's saying, I bought my power pack to go in my purse in case I ever end up staying at a hospital or something and I don't know that I'm going to do it. And I leave it in my house, but it doesn't ever go with me in my backpack. Yeah, you know something, Erin, I understand. It's the same thing. It's like I specially charged it up and everything and then forgot to plug it in. So Sakura is saying, my nannies would flip out and spank me or hit me whenever I tried to play in the playground. So now when we get a chance to bring our neighborhood kids, I have an excuse to play. Yes, how many of you know that a lot of the reason why parents enjoy kids is they get to play with the things their parents wouldn't let them play with? How many adults have you seen playing with toy trains that won't let their kids go near it? It's just like, I waited a lifetime to do this. Don't you dare get near my train. Yeah, Erin, thank you. I'm so glad I'm not the only one. Um, yes, Jody, and that's it, right? You were taught to cope with challenges. You were taught that it's not all going to go the right way. You were taught that money doesn't grow on trees. You were taught, yeah. Yes, and I think one of the greatest things about growing up is you get to play with the toys you wanted to play with. um, yes, Kerry, that's exactly it, right? We enjoy this because we vicariously get to be kids again. I can have. Did any of you remember that day that Juliana and I were busy making Play-Doh clothes for the Barbies? I'm sorry that the light keeps. It must be. I must be getting in the way of a light source somehow. Huh, interesting. But it was funny because I remember Benji saying, I couldn't believe how wonderfully you played with Juliana and the Play-Doh. You concentrated so hard with her and you really did participate. And I'm going, he doesn't know, does he? I never got to play with Barbies in my time, never mind with Play-Doh. So how many of you know that? So whenever I'm near Juliana, I'm going, what are we going to do today? And she'll go, we're going to paint or we're going to do, I go, okay, fine. Lordy. Oh, yes, that Papa and Dad were building a racetrack. Yes. And was he allowed to play with it? There's the thing. You see, that's what I remember as well. I can't tell you how many adults I've seen build racetracks and not let their kids near it. I remember one time when I first met Yvonne, that she had a racetrack for her son, but he wasn't allowed to play with it. And I looked at her and I said, "What? Whose racetrack is it?" Well, it was given to him. Why isn't he allowed to play with it? Yeah, explain that logic to me. Well, he might ruin it. I said, "That's what you give kids toys for." He wasn't allowed to watch Nana, not even watch. Wow. How did you think this? That is amazing, right? That is so sad. I don't, to me, that's sad anyway. I wonder what it is that I can't see. That's what it is. When I come away, aha, there's a light here. Got it. Okay, let's move that out of the way. Maybe that'll make a difference for you. Yeah, Jody, I want to tell you, I love it too when I'm with Juliana because Juliana sort of gets me. You know what I mean? She knows I'm a bit weird. And so when I sit down with Juliana, it's funny. I miss that. I'm going to hopefully see her next week. But, it's like when I sit down with her, I just say to her, what are we doing today? And I let her tell me, all right? I don't try and tell her anymore. And have you noticed how willingly she hands over stuff for me to play with? I love it. Now, how many of you know I want to teach Juliana? I want to teach Juliana how to do my painting because she'll do it well. But I'm not sure if Mummy and Daddy will like that. She is not only, I want to tell you that when she was born, I took one look at her and I said to Benji, you are going to have a bit of a problem here. She is smart as a wagon load of monkeys. And he said, how do you know? And I said, I can see it. And I said, she will learn things so quickly. You're going to be quite surprised. But I really do. I want to take my paints with me and go. Luckily the weather's getting a bit better because I'd have to go and do it outside. Otherwise they'll kill me. But it's like, Juliana, I want to show you something, and I want to take some little canvases down with me so that they can just fill up, some paint and, just make a painting for themselves. So I bought the canvases ready to take with me. Now I've just got to get permission to make a mess. That might be more difficult because I can make a big mess. And I'm trying to think where. Yeah, I know she will, but it's like I might have to take her to the garage to do it. But even then, it could make mess on the garage. But well, because she lives rather a long way away. Yes, I did. Okay, Nana's asking me. She's seen me do, those big ones where I did that, Nana. What I did was I took a margarine container, all right, and then I happened to have a burning thing. What's it called? A burning iron. Where you burn wood to write in it. I happen to have a burning iron, and I just used that. However, I have done another one, Nana, where I just took a knife and made holes. So any margarine container will work. Yes, hole punches, he'll be able to just hammer it through. Yeah. What I found, just from my experience, Nana, have him make the holes from the outside to the inside rather than from the inside to the outside. All right. Because what you want is a solid surface at the bottom, a branding iron. Yeah, it is like that. Nana, do you understand what I'm saying? So have him do the holes from the bottom up. All right, not the top down. Because if you go top down, then bits of plastic will be here. It won't be solid at the bottom. And when you're pouring the paint in, you want it to be solid before you start moving it. You are going to love doing that. It really is amazing to watch what happens. From my experience, it's just like, wow. And, the other thing, Nana, you keep saying it's told you to stop talking. It doesn't like it when you talk too many times in a row. All right. So if any minute now, it's going to tell you again because you've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. And it sees that as that you are being a, what's the word, guys? Troll. All right. And we know you're not. But so, yeah. So that's why it's telling you. It's an automatic trigger that they have to make sure. It's a soldering type. It's not actually a soldering tool. It is a burning tool. You burn words, you burn into wood. I'm sure that Rick's probably got one. But it doesn't matter. You can literally, if he's got a hole punch thing, the punch stuff, that'll work beautifully. I've done it with knife. All right, now, Jody, listen up. From this point onwards, here's what I need you to do. Do you buy your coffee in a large can? Or do you buy it in a packet? Nana, I need you to listen up because I'm going to teach you something that is worth listening to. Yeah, I found that the top of a coffee can works really well as a palette. Okay, so the top of a margarine container works as a really good palette. Now, Nana, what I want to teach you is if you take one of those. Okay, so we're going to imagine it's round, Nana. If you take the top, something that's plastic, be it a coffee canister thing or a margarine thing, and if you cut it in half, you can then take a small container. Any container will do. Don't let me turn this upside down. It's got coffee in it. You can then take your small container that you've poured the paint into and put the top of the margarine can, or half of it anyway, is what you want. You want half so that you can turn it over and slide it off and onto the canvas. Did that make any sense? So you fill up the container like this, put this over the top of it. One half of it hasn't got a ridge on it, so you can turn it over and just go onto the canvas. Okay. So you've lost the palette with the colors in it. No, you haven't. You've just put it away carefully. So here's the thing. If I sent you another palette, where would you put it? That's probably where you're going to find it. Because you are a creature of habit. And that palette would have been very special to you. So that isn't just thrown anywhere. You've put that away carefully. That's why they can't find it. You put it away carefully, bozo brain. It's my trick, right? Oh, that's really important. I need to put that away carefully. That's the last I'll see of it for a long time. All right, so that's a little trick. What else can I tell you, Nana? Do you understand about putting the float coat on first? That's really an important thing. If you're going to do what I think you're going to do, make sure you put a total layer of paint on your canvas. Yes, I've used baby oil. Don't use too much. You see, this whole thing, Nana, isn't about perfection. You've got to play with it and find out what works for you. I've used olive oil, I've used baby oil, I've used hair oil, I've used WD-40 works really well for the smaller cells. Liquid wrench works really well. It smells a bit, but I get over that. So just play. WD-40 makes really nice small cells. And by the way, there are two different ways to do that, Nana, and this is what you need to understand. Hang on a second. I think this one Nana, if you look at this one, it's got the big cells that I did with hair oil, but do you also see the small ones here? Okay, so the big cells were hair oil that I didn't mix in too much, because if you mix it up too much, it'll become small. But the smaller ones were because of WD-40. Okay. Does it look like I know what I'm doing, Nana? Only took a year. Now, I want to know, what did I use this day? Because I got some dirty great cells that day. And that was a long way back, Jody. I've got to find out what I was using then. I'll have to start experimenting all over again. And it must have been the same time that I did this one. Look at the size of those cells, people. So, You had to make yourself today. And yes, I told you that last time. I still use Elmer's glue in all the colors. I don't use it in the white. Oh, you had to make yourself eat today. Okay. Yeah, that was way back, Jody. Great souls, right? I can't remember what I did. And I there are days when I keep absolutely brilliant notes. Okay, this is Tuesday, March the 23rd, and painting number 1, right? And I actually number the piece of work that I'm doing. I make sure I write number 1 on it and the date so that I can compare them. Those ones that come out like that, I never have a number on them. It's like a God thing. He waits until I forget to put the number on, and then he goes, "Okay, throw in a bit of this, a bit of that, and shake it up." And I'm going, "Wow, that's good. What did I use?" Oh no, it's like every time it looks that good. It's like, oh. And then I remember I'm not doing this for any other reason but to enjoy doing it, and I do. Oh, I want to tell you something. I've got notebooks full of all the details of the mud pies I threw. I just haven't got any of the good ones recorded. Do any of you relate to this? It's just like, let me write this down, and then I get bored and I just go, and it's like, oh, look at that. Yeah, if I can remember, there's the thing. If I can remember. But I will say one thing, Jody, that now that I'm onto the bigger canvases, um, I'm not. I've sort of got the idea now. Do you know what I mean? I'm not doing 12 paintings a day trying to work out how do I do that. Now it's a case of, hi, Peaches, good to see you. Peaches, it's Pat, right? Yeah, it's there is no doubt, and that's what I'm trying to say to Jody with her good Pat. Thank goodness I got it right. It's taken me how many months? Um, but that's why to me it's about I listen to Jody in the watercolor. I can hear her perfectionist coming in, and it's driving me insane because Jody would not let me do that to myself. She would tell me go to the studio and go and have fun. She wouldn't say to me, go and study watercolor. So that's why, excuse my language, but it's a double standard. You know what I mean? Because she would never let me get away with it. you know? And that's what makes me laugh about Jody. Right? She's got this double standard thing going. It's right. Apparently, she can play those games on herself, but nobody else is allowed to. So yes, you see, and that's what I found. Now, right, about not having enough room to make a mess. You actually have more room than you think. All you need, Jody, just so that you know, get one of those disposable roasting pans. Oh, what did you say? Okay, I can show that. Um, oh, another moderator just handled that. And so, what you can do, listen to this, Jody. I started with a roasting pan with just an old baking grid, cooling rack. That's the word in it, and just with a piece of paper. And you can make a big mess. The other thing is, and the other thing is, if you make a big mess at the bottom, um, you can just put the. Do you have a balcony at all? Yes, Nana did it with a Costco box. If you want to do it, there are ways to do it. Yeah. I just happen to have a room because I always wondered what I was gonna do with that room. Didn't make a very good office, but it makes a great studio. Yeah, so to me, it's like, what do you wanna try? You don't have a balcony, okay. So I have seen people do it in their kitchen, I have seen people do it all sorts of places. And you don't have to do big paintings, I remember, Jody, I started off doing paintings this big. Alright, so here's the thing. Yes, if it's on the floor where the fluff ball can get to it, but I don't know if you've noticed, I actually I've got, wire racks that I actually put them this way so that I can store my little paintings that way. The other thing I use are, um, you know, in an office you have in and out trays. I've got a stack of those stacked up because I found I got a whole lot of those. They make very nice things to dry your artwork in. All right, so Carrie, that's twice you said that you're having difficulty eating. So that's an issue, right? So that's twice you brought it up today. So what do you need to hear from us? How can we support you here? Because and that's not a bad thing. I'm not hungry today either. I've had oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. What did I do with those? Oh, rats. I'm gonna have to wait until I finish the broadcast. Um, yeah. I've had, let me think. I had a liquid breakfast, with oatmeal and milk that I took in the car with me. I had I had a caramel rice cake that I had in the car. Uh, then I stopped at this place and bought myself. Hi there, Becca. Um, Good for you, Becca. How can we help you? What support do you need, honey? I'm sending you a hug. Big hug. Now, I definitely want to go get what I bought. Hi, Barra Boywoods. Welcome. Do we know you under another name, or are you new to the visiting us? Yeah, you know something though. You know something, Becca. Your emotions are going to be out of whack for probably 6 months to a year. I haven't ever been pregnant, th- but I would imagine how quite often people who get pregnant, their emotions go way off kilter, and I think that sort of level of grief that you've gone through and going through, does the same thing. So, Kerry, here's the thing that I wanted to say to you about this. You don't feel like eating. Um, what I what I try and make sure I do is make sure that even if I don't feel like it, that I definitely get at least 1,200 calories inside. Really? So you haven't got that closure. But do you know where they're going to be buried? Those ashes? No. Okay. Now, oh, in your local cemetery. Okay. So, well, it depends where you put your brain. And I'm not trying to be cruel here, Becca, but you know, if you the way through this would be if you didn't have any emotion to it, it actually you could get closure without going through that. I'm not being disrespectful. I just know from experience that what ceases us to have closure is the fact, oh, we haven't actually buried him yet, so we can't have closure. Well, there are an awful lot of people who will see it a different way. But here is the thing: you cannot control when that happens, right? That's something your parents are going to do. So I think I'd ask them. You understand? Yes, and I know that, Kerry. That's why I'm mentioning that some people can get closure without actually doing that. It's a very tricky thing, Sarah. Good for you, Nana. I'm proud of you. Learning a new thing is always a good thing to do. It keeps the brain working. But the best thing that we can do as we get older is carry on learning new things on the computer, like that stupid editing program that Sophie mentioned, for example, right? And you know, the other thing, Sarah, from my experience, is grieving will take as long as it takes, and it depends on your emotional abilities as to how you deal with it. So it is completely different for different people, you know, depending on their emotional um, hmm, quotient, I'd have to say. Yes, and do you know something that I can remember that we actually threw my mum's ashes in a running stream near. There was a stream that she liked to sit by, and we threw her ashes in there, and you know, it was like, okay, there you go. Go play with the fishes, and it wasn't disrespectful, and it was that's what she wanted. And I look at it and I go, I certainly wouldn't want people, you know, tying on into that with me. Okay, what's this? It's just everything is so unsettled. Yeah, I think that is very difficult for you. Yeah, Becca. You know, and it's going to stay unsettled, unfortunately, until they get their stuff together. Yeah, and as I said, you know, my amazing thing was that when I got the phone call to hear that my mother died, my first two words out of my mouth were "Thank God." You see, I was able to totally dissociate from my loss and think about her and say she is happy now, right? Because she had struggled a great deal. You know, she'd been bedridden for 5 years or whatever, and so I she was free, you know, and because I believe in an afterlife, and so yeah, I still talk to my mom, and she talks to me all the time. Whenever I have bad table manners, she still has a go at me. I tell you. Yeah, and so I look at it and I say that that's why it's a very personal thing. Yes, I all I could think about was thank God she's not going to suffer anymore. She's not going to suffer the indignity you know, of not the things that she was having difficulty with. She didn't have She wasn't of the mentality that did well under being bedridden. She really struggled and fought it all the time, and got very angry with people and all those sort of things. Yeah, and or maybe he isn't. Who knows? I think, but Becca, here is the thing: we can help you. We can't help your family, and we can't help your brother, but we can in some way help you. So you just keep letting us know what we can do to support you. All right, that's the important thing. So I'm delighted that you come into the broadcast, and I hope you know that an awful lot of people here care about you, and that they I know that Kerry has been doing everything that she can, and I'm sure that you're probably getting to this stage where you might want to help Kerry as well. Yes, I knew that you would understand that, Jody. That's why I told you. There was, when I was saying it, you could probably hear me going, yeah, she fought it all the way. And it wasn't that she wanted to be active. She just couldn't live in the reality of it. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Carrie. That's why I said it that way. Hi, Sam. How are you doing? Sam, I really wanted to thank you for the beautiful thing you said the other day on a broadcast or whatever. I've actually got it printed out and with me on this trip in case anybody asks me why people watch what I do. And I just wanted to thank you because there are days when something like that really touches my soul. So big hugs to you. Thank you. Okay, so the law of physics states, this is for the replay, that energy cannot be created or destroyed. The energy of our loved ones lives in us. Yes, absolutely. We can honor them and their energy forever in our daily rituals and mindfulness. Wow, way to go there, Sam. It seems like such a huge mountain to climb, Becca. I quite agree, especially after you going, I can hardly cope with myself. How can I possibly help anybody else? Well, I think that sometimes you will know when the time is right, Becca. I'm not pushing you to do that any faster than you're capable of, but it will be a wonderful moment for you when you actually, start asking the other people, because what it'll mean is that you're starting to heal. Yeah, it's the soul energy, isn't it? Yeah. And I see, um, Sarah, did you ever read hmm, the Celestine Prophecy? I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember that, but I always remember there was one chapter in there that really struck with me, and that had to do with energy and about. Have you noticed that some people give you energy and some people suck it out of you? It's just like, this is a sucker. you know. Oh, I want to tell you, it's a bit like. Did you ever read Jonathan Livingston Seagull? So the parable of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, is an incredible parable, and I'll probably be talking about that on Monday. Yes, Sarah, that doesn't surprise me at all. You tap into people's auras without really realizing it half the time, right? So So to me, it was like when I first heard the words in Jonathan Livingston Seagull, Richard Bach, when he wrote it, I first heard Richard Burton read it. And I want to tell you, if you want to know what's mind blowing, it's listening to Richard Burton actually read that book, because it was just like, wow, you could feel every bit of it. It was brilliantly done. But it's like that book, it told you so much about what happens when we go outside the box, when we actually think differently from other people, what other people do to us. And when I read the Celestine Prophecy, Sarah and Sam, it was like, it's a series of little parables, if you like, about, I think for those of you, probably the modern day version was probably The Secret, right? Which is that there are certain things that people do and don't do that make you happy or sad. And you just need to be, if you want to, much more aware. And this one chapter, when I read it, I went, the suckers. I know these people. You stand next to them and they just do nothing but bleed you dry. Yes, Sakura, that's right. They suck your energy. Yes. But your husband gives you energy. Right. And so that's what you got to look at, that some people will pull energy from you and others give you energy. Now, not that I'm looking for strokes, but how many of you find that you get energy when you watch the broadcasts? Yeah, and Kerry, for those of us who grew up with toxic people around us, then you get to appreciate. Hang on, it wasn't me after all, right? It was the toxic people. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't allowed to go to university because that's where my mother thought they taught communism. Hello? You know what I mean? It's a no, Peaches, I am not so positive. I'd love to tell you, Pat, that I am that positive, but I'm not, right? I try to be pragmatic. Right? I tried. Hi, Jan. How are you? Yes, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Very good idea. Thank you very, very much, Jan. Becca, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, if you can find any of her stuff, she's bound to be on YouTube and the internet. She was the one that talks about the cycle of loss, and anything that she, if you can read any of her stuff, it will probably help you. She's very good with words, Becca, so you'll enjoy that. She uses good words. And she is actually, she really impressed me when I first started listening to her stuff. Sarah, yeah, you can imagine my mother. You're not going to universities where they teach communism. And she believed, by the way, Sarah, I need you to concentrate here. Sarah, I want you to know that she sounded and looked just like the Queen. And now that I think about it, I think she probably would have said, Sallykins, you are not going to university. That's where they train communism. Yeah. So, to me, it's like I realize now exactly what happened in my youth. One of the things they've asked me to talk about. When I do the speech on Monday, they want to know how come I inspire. So how do I inspire so many young people? And I went, what do you mean, young people? And that's what I want to talk to them about. It's not young people. It's why do I inspire anybody? And, when you look at it, Sam wrote this incredible thing, and I haven't got it with me, Sam, but I've got it somewhere. Wrote this incredible thing about what inspires her when she watches me. Right? And it is, listen to this. If I got it right, Sam, what she said is, I haven't lost my inner child. I still talk about, oh my inner child really likes that, or whatever. And she said, that is so exciting to watch because most of us grow out of that, right? We grow out of it very early on. And me, I'm just beginning to really embrace it big time. You know, it's like, and now I think in a way you guys helped me do that, because I will pass something and my adult goes, well, that's not so interesting. And I'm going, yeah, but the viewers will love it. It really, Jody, in what way? Have you gone a little insane since finding us? So, to me, it's about, I find that when I let my inner child play, be it in the studio or in, how many of you know that my craft room is a little more challenging? When I do these card things, right? It's a little more challenging. Now, I keep thinking to myself, I could have done this on my computer probably much more easily, but it's not the same, right? And the card inside is really cute. When they open it up, I'll try and take a picture for you. So to me, it's like, see, when we were kids, we were learning all the time. Yeah, I know, Kerry, you were off the rocker to start with, right? Yes, you're just more cheerful and happy because why, Jody? Think about that. Why did we make you more cheerful and happy? You've got a demon, yeah. That's why people say to me things like, "Oh, you're such a positive person." I said, "You haven't met my bitch from hell, have you?" Because there are a lot of people that know me, they're going, "Don't mess with her. Whatever you do, do not mess with her. You don't want to see what comes out when you when you mess with her." And it's true. I am not a perfect person. And when I get angry, I get good and angry, and some of you have seen it. And the other thing is, some of you have seen me control it incredibly well, considering when you know that I am capable. Yeah, I know you are, Carrie. And Carrie, how many people have you supported? Okay, so let me see what Becca says here. I think I've become more grateful and maybe less sensitive. Yeah, actually, that's true, Becca. You've done a great job on that one. You don't take everything personally anymore. Yay! Well done. You can see that. Yeah. So, you look at it and you go, you see, the difficulty is, and Becca, I'm not sure if you're ready for this, so, but just bear with me because I'm getting a real sense to say it. This is it, that, how many of you in the room right now? Yeah, Sarah, and you never will, right? And nor will I. Why? Because I will call a spade a devil, and I will say what I believe to be true. And it's just like, I know, Becca, I know that. And that's why I want to congratulate you, because you do not follow the norm, right? You are your own person. Or even though it feels so strange, one day you're going to go, wow, now I understand. Yes, I do not want to be normal. Really, I have no wish to be normal. I like being a little weird. I like being somebody who, when you say to me, "Do you like my dress?" I go, "Are you sure you want to ask me that question right now? Could we go on to the weather or maybe the sports, results or something?" Yeah, I say that to people and they're going, "That bad, huh?" And I'm going, "Well, it's just a personal opinion, but yeah." And you see, what is normal? Yeah, that you fit in. When I do this leadership thing, and that's what I'm talking about on Monday, when I do this leadership thing with young people, what do I know? Every one of those young people doesn't fit into their school class properly. Why? They're all already taken a weekend off not to go play or party. They've taken a weekend off to go to a leadership camp. Do you understand that's not normal? All right. So to me, Yeah, it's just a setting on a dryer. I love it, Becca. Thank you. Wow, you can even make us laugh. That's really very generous of you. Thank you, Becca. Yeah, normal is just a setting on a dryer. And how many of you use normal? It's just like I don't use normal. I use delicate. I don't know why. On my dryer, delicate is better and faster than normal. And I sort of like that. How do you like that, Becca? Delicate on my dryer is better and faster. And also it keeps tumbling until I empty it. It doesn't let it get all, smushed because I fell asleep in the middle of it. It just every 15 minutes just gives it another cycle so things don't get all messed up. Because I think the delicate one is for more normal, for people that do normal things. Yeah, so forget about the normal. Yeah, who wants normal? Yes, Sakura, isn't that true? How many of the normal people who fit in, really, you're not seeing the true self anyway? Yeah. Yes, I had, Sarah, that's funny you should say that. I've got a dear friend of mine, and she used to say to me, Sal, I really hate you. And I go, yeah, I know that. Why? She said, because before I met you, ignorance was bliss. And you have made me face my demons to such a degree that I can't even hide in there anymore. And I'm going, yeah, I'm sorry about that. She said, I'll try hiding in normal. And I'm going, yeah, right. Who am I kidding? And by the way, she's the one that taught me that thing. Because she used to do that. I used to think that is so, it's so adorable because you could tell the kid in her was really excited. Yes, sorry, not sorry, right? And she taught me the one, I don't mean to pry. Well, actually, yes, I do. I'm amazed how many times I use that one. I'll be listening to half a story and I'll go, I don't mean to pry. No, actually, yes, I do. And what do I know for a fact? I've got a lot of people who love me dearly, and I've got a lot of people who don't feel the same way. And as far as I'm concerned, I am happier with that today than I have ever been in my life. All right? I am happier with that today because today I don't ask that everybody likes me. I don't want that to happen. Right? I don't need it to happen. Listen, you make your own choice. The interesting thing that I find, and I've got to say this because it's happened so many times, the interesting thing yes, Sakura, you can use that. The interesting thing to me is I wanted us to be here so people could come in and get help if they wanted it, and then get upset if they wanted to go away. But I wanted to make sure that if they ever chose to come back, we'd still be here and welcome them. And I want to thank everybody because you have done a great job at doing that to a number of people. And that to me is what it's about. It's about everybody is entitled to their opinion, but regardless of their opinion, if they ever need help, let us make sure we're here to help them. And by the way, if ever I am not here, I am hoping that somebody will continue this in some way because you will have known what it meant to you, that you will know what it means to continue it. Yeah, thank you, Jody. I want to tell you something, Sarah. It took me a long time to find out who I really was, and who I really am isn't really quite as nice a person as I thought I was. Does that anybody else relate to that? It's sort of like I used to pretend I was a really nice person, which wasn't true. Now, I'm not saying I'm a nasty person because I don't think I am. Okay, Nana, thank you so much for being here, and have fun with that paint. Let me see how it goes. um, yeah, you see, I think that I have now accepted that I'm not a totally nice person all of the time. I've accepted that that's my reality, and that's okay with me. I'm actually just a human being. Have any of you got that far yet? It's just like, Yeah, I'm not perfect. And it's okay. Who would I pick as my number one choice to carry on? I'd probably pick a team of people. And the reason I say that is because I think so many of them, obviously I love what Jody does. I love what Lauren can do to help people quietly the way she does. I love what Erin can do. I think it actually would be that I would really love it if they just carried on doing what we do as a group. Because it's like I don't think it's necessarily just one person. I just happen to be, if you like, the moderator of it all. But my whole goal, I said that originally, and those of you who are longtime viewers, you will remember, I said my goal is to train everybody else to carry on what I'm doing. Yes, Jan, I agree with you that acceptance is, once you can accept yourself as you are, you're not perfect, you screw up, say things you didn't mean to, you you don't like everybody. Once you realize that that's okay, boy, life changes. I spent so much of my life trying to people please. And really, I don't have the time for it now. How many times have you heard me say when somebody's got, upset with me, well, I'm going to leave the channel if you don't do X, Y, and Z? Okay, fine. Is acceptance the same as appreciation? In a way, I'd have to say yes. Part of me says no, but then I'm thinking, is acceptance appreciating who I am rather than who I would like to be, who I pretend to be? I think it was Sam, wherever she is. Sam said it. She said it's about authentic. Yeah, Kerry refuses to be a pretzel. Jody actually did a great job on learning not to be a pretzel. So, Becca, does that help at all? I think when I can appreciate that I am good enough as I am, that is acceptance. All right. I don't need to turn myself into a pretzel to please anybody. I am who I am. You either like me or you don't. And it's none of my business. Yes, but that's quite normal. Sakura, do you understand that? That is quite normal. How many of you relate to that? I'm nice and helpful, and they say I'm smart, but I'm a childish person physically and mentally, bratty at times. I get so scared so easily. Well, getting scared so easily means that you're facing stuff you've never had to face before, right? Doesn't it feel good, Carrie? I want to tell you, I realized how much work I had done on myself, Carrie. I realized how much work I'd done on myself when I got that possible cancer scare, and I wasn't scared. Right? I remember Yvonne and I both looking at each other. We were both crying, and we were crying because, possible loss of friendship and whatever. But I remember saying to her, "I'm not scared of dying. I'm scared of being in pain. I'm not scared of dying." Um, Except that I'm a little concerned that, that if I get up to the pearly gates, that St. Peter might sit there with his clipboard. I have this vision, going, okay, so, yeah, well, let me see. What did we give you? We gave you this talent, this one, this one, this. That's all you did with it? I don't know why. That is my fear. That I will not have done enough with what I was given to play with. Does that sound insane? Yes, Kerry. I don't, I understand that you're not as brave as people think. I'm not as positive as people think. But I do my best, right? I really work. I want to tell you something. I'm a lot more positive today than I've been in the rest of my life. Yes, seriously, Jody, that is my fear. Yes, it's the same thing, Sarah. How many people say, "Oh, I'm scared of flying"? I go, "No, I'm not scared of flying. I'm scared of crashing." Flying doesn't worry me at all. It's the crashing that upsets me a little bit. Yes, and once you can accept, and that's what Becca was asking me, which is once you can accept who you are, once you can accept you're not a perfect person, then life gets a lot easier. So, when I look at it, I look at it and go, how much of our misery, how much of our misery is self-imposed? It's stuff that we spend our conscious time thinking about that really, it's not going to change anything. So why, it's like a sadomasochism thing. Yes, it's a self-inflicted wound. Yeah, and so this is why I say to you, be aware of. Remember I said that on Friday. That was yesterday, right? At the Friday first broadcast, which is be aware of what you're thinking, because so much of what we think. How many of you say, "I can't wait until Friday," or "I can't wait until so"? You realize what you're telling the universe, right? You're telling the universe, "I can't wait until then, so let me go now." So I always stop people when they say things like that. I go, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Think about what you're saying there." Um, how about it's unbelievable? How many of you say, "Wow, that's unbelievable"? That's a very negative thing to say to somebody, but we say it as a positive. Go figure that one out. I've always wondered about that. I'll tell people, "Well, I did that." "Oh, wow, that's unbelievable." Why? Do you think I'm lying? That's good to know, Sarah. So those of you who need that, there's an app called Mindful, right? Is it Android or is it Apple or both? And I hope that Jody will write that down for me so I can find it. Yes. And, because we do it all the time, Joe. Well, a lot of people do it all the time. I can't wait. And not only that, think of all the other things you say that actually have a negative connotation. Yeah, of course you do, Sarah. So, well, I can almost see you standing there going, um, I have an apple. Thank you for that. I don't know why. I could almost just hear you going, "Yeah, well, I wouldn't know. I have an apple." Oh, Lordy. Yeah. So now I needed to tell you about this community. Yeah, I can hear you, Sarah. Don't worry. I got your number in spades. I'm in a community that is probably. Thank you so much, Peaches. I appreciate that. For some Mars bars. Yes. Actually, you know something, Peaches. I can't thank you enough. I just got the bill to what do you call it? Renew my DearMamaSal website, and it was ended up being $250, which, as I was saying, wasn't a problem when I was working. It is a problem now that I'm retired. But so thank you. That's it really. I really, really appreciate that. So the speech that I will give in this community, I want you to say it's a community of about 12,000 people. All right. So if you got that figure in your mind, and the first weekend of May every year, they get together and they all meet at the local school, all the volunteers, and they go out and help in the community. If they know somebody needs a new deck and they can't afford to build it, they will go out and build a deck. If they know that somebody needs coat of paint on their house and they haven't been able to do that, they'll go and paint. And they started off, apparently, I can't remember how many years ago, but I thought this was such a great story that you would really enjoy this. That they started off with just a handful of people who did this. And I heard today that they're expecting over 500 volunteers that first weekend of May. Don't you, in a community of only 12,000 people. And that's, a high percentage of people when you think about it. And so I was thinking, isn't that a beautiful thing? And how many people you're going to feel so much better, the first weekend of May, because they will know they've made a difference in somebody's life. And apparently it's really quite a big thing now. They have a big committee. People write in and ask to be considered, and you're allowed to write in for yourself. Yeah, I thought it was lovely, Jody. That's why I'm sharing it with you guys, because I know that you guys will understand this. And so, they to me, it's like, what if every community had that? What if every street had that? It's like, just because you live on the street doesn't mean that everything's going right. I live in an area that's considered to be fairly upmarket, if you know what I mean. And I remember being asked to join in on a focus group for the local hospital. And they asked, what did we think was needed in the future, in the next decade or so, because they wanted a plan for it. And what I actually said was that I thought we needed to address the homeless situation. And people rolled their eyes at me and said, where we live? And I said, yeah, why don't you open your eyes? Just because you're living in a $1 million house, have you not looked down the side streets? Have you not looked down the alley? Have you not looked behind the supermarket? What is, do you not see things? Do you choose not to see things? And I remember that, after that meeting was finished, the coordinator from the hospital pulled me aside and said, thank you. A voice of reason. Thank you. And by the way, the other thing I said they needed to have a really good look at was getting enough mental health support, because there wasn't nearly enough mental health support for communities. So I think it's a case of, we can sit and talk about it forever, but what are you doing about it, right? And so that's part of what I'm going to be talking about on Monday night. It's what I don't think I'm an inspiration, right? I think I just flap my lips. But what you do with what you hear is what's an inspiration to me. All right. What Les did after we gave her some support, that is inspiring to me. What Erin does on a daily basis, what Jody does on a daily basis, what Lauren's doing sitting in hospital inspires me. I am not a noble person. I'd love to tell you that I am. I'd love to tell you that I am. I know that, Sarah. That's why I started it. I knew that there were an awful lot of people who didn't necessarily need, shrinks. They needed somebody to help them work through some of these things. All right. This is like when we can talk about it like normal people, it's like you find out you're not the only one. Right? You're not the only one that has these issues. You're not the only one that gets scared, Sakura. You're not the only one that has problems dealing with certain things, Becca. It's like we all do. We just deal with them in different ways, depending on our experiences. And some of us were lucky. Oh, Kerry's got a plethora of issues. Wow, 75% word there, Kerry. So to me, it's like one of the things that I can remember saying to a therapist once is, why do they write all the psychological books in gobbledygook? Why don't they write it so humans can read it? And you know what I said to him? I remember saying it to him. I said, have any of you heard of shadow work, where you're dealing with your shadow personality as opposed to the one that's in the light? That we've all got a shadow personality, and I had been doing. Yes, Jen, I know what you mean. I've been there, and but what I said was, I've just been reading about it, and it's fascinating, quite honestly. Um, but I said, but why did they write it all in gobbledygook? And I said, why don't they just write it in English? And it was so funny because my therapist said to me, a very good question. And he said, you could write it in English, Sal, because you understand it. And I said, yeah, I could. And it made me realize that sometimes, did any of you ever read any of Wayne Dyer's stuff? Your Erroneous Zones was one of them, and and Uranus is a really good one. And I look up, when I first started reading his stuff, I went, boy, this guy, yeah, your Erroneous Zones, absolutely awesome. And so was Uranus. Uranus was hysterical. Uranus talked about all the things that people say, when they say, oh, yes, that's great weather, but you should have been here Thursday. And Wayne Dyer said, how could I should have been here Thursday? It's Friday. Or I'm scared of mountains. Why do they attack you? I'm scared of heights. Why do heights, up and attack you? I'm scared of, and it was really interesting because he just kept asking these incredibly funny questions. And he had these great graphics that went with it where you're going, yeah, you're right. I'm not scared of heights. I'm scared of falling from that height. Yes, Jerry. And so I totally agree. And that's what I was saying, right? That really what creates happiness, I believe, is losing that expectation of everybody having to like you. When you don't need that anymore, I don't know why your life gets a lot happier. So when people come in and you've seen it happen and they say, well, you really ought to do this and you really should show movies and you really should do this, that, and the other. And I go, that's fine. Well, why don't you go and create that channel? Because that's not what we do here. What we do here is we talk about everyday things and we talk about them. Yes, Leo Basaglia was, and I'm trying to think one of the quotes I really liked about him. Who's the other one? There's another one. Was it Leo that wrote Love is Letting Go of Fear? No, that was Jerry Jampolsky, right? Love is letting go of fear. Yeah. And so, I look at it and I go, yeah, since I've stopped worrying so much about people liking me and giving them full permission, and it doesn't worry me anymore. If somebody wants to leave the channel and go and do something else, I don't get upset with it anymore. Yeah, and actually, I never did. But it's like, that's fine. If you don't like what I'm doing, then for goodness sake, don't stay. But don't ask me to change what we're doing because what we're doing has helped so many people. I will continue to do it. Do you understand the difference? If you think you can run a better channel, go do it. Don't ask me to change what I know is working for people. That is the difference. And it's not that I'm the best that there is or that I'm egotistical. I just know this has helped a lot of people. Just in all our the mistakes that we make or whatever, I just know that just talking about stuff that people, it seems to help people. Yes, it's so true, Sarah. What you think of me is none of my business, right? And quite honestly, I've learned to say, Sarah, this one took me a long time, but now when they attack my character, I have an answer for that now. Let me know if you want it. I'm sorry that you feel that way. And I move on. I don't try and convince them, because here's what I've learned, Sarah. If they have decided to think that about my character, nothing I am going to say is going to make them change their idea, because they're set in their views. Thank you for letting me know how you feel. I'm sorry you feel that way. But I thank you for the honesty of letting me know that's how you feel. Sometimes I'll even say, by the way, what did you hear about me that made you think that? Don't waste your energy. You are not going to convince them that they're wrong. It took me a long time to learn that one. Now, occasionally I get sucked in. You all know that. How many of you know, you can just hear that noise and you go, I got sucked in again. They actually sucked me in again. Yeah, you see, hang on, Sarah. Sarah, have you been around long enough that I can hit you with a 2x4 yet? Because I don't do that without permission. Oh, yes. Okay, good. All right, here comes the 2x4. And I just want to ask the question, Sarah, because you strike me as a very smart cookie, other than the fact you own an apple. But, here's the thing that I want to ask you. When you get that nagging hurt thing, is it by any chance because somewhere at some tiny little level, it's true? Because you see, if somebody came to me and said, you're a car, I'd go, really, thank you for your opinion. And I'd move on. Because obviously this person is a bozo. Because I am not a car. You see, if I don't have anything to connect to that, I just dismiss it and go, so Sarah, think about that. The next time somebody says something about you and it hurts, ask yourself, yes, exactly. In some cases, yes. Good girl. In some cases, yes. And the ones where it's totally untrue, you just need to go, thanks for your opinion. Yeah, I appreciate your honesty. And move away. Go find somebody that likes you. Life's too short, Sarah. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm inclined to go home at night and I sort of replay things. How many of you replay the movie of the day? And I go, now, I did lose my cool a little bit with, why? And I will start looking at it, go, why did I lose my cool? And I go, okay, was there any truth in it that you got that upset? I'm going, of course not. I go, no, seriously, Sal, have a look at it. Was there any truth in it? And I'm going, oh, maybe just a tad. So Sarah, start getting your sense of humor back on this one. I can so see you doing it, Sarah. By the way, do you win the argument? Because if you can't win the argument in the shower, you're never going to win it. Oh, lordy, lordy. You know, the thing is, how much of your day is taken up with what other people have said about you? That's the thing. You always win. That's where you lack reality, Sarah. You want to win. Hello, everybody. I'd like you to meet ruler of the universe, Sarah. Shall we call you Queen Sarah now, Sarah? She needs to win. Yes, you know something? I want to tell you, my ex had control over my thoughts and my anger for many, many years. Sarah does mean princess. Oh, you are so well named, my love. So well named. I love you more every time I speak to you. But you know, I don't know. I used to rule the universe for quite a long time, and yeah, I gave it up. It's too much like hard work. If you don't want to like me, be my guest, right? Let me move on and help people. That's what I'm here for. So you see, Sarah, what I love about doing this show is that different people come in and out, and we all learn. Right? How many of you relate to what Sarah said about what you can say in the shower? You win those arguments very easily. I give Sarah, just so that you know, I give some of the best speeches the world has ever heard on my way home from the speech I've just given, and that's when I remember what I should have said. Makes sense. To me, it was just like, wow. Yes, and Jerry, I learned from some very big YouTubers to absolutely do not read your haters. All right? Do not read your haters because they hate you. I've got a couple and they follow me all over the place. Even when I'm raising money on December, hello, they still follow me and they attack me. And it's just like, really, in fact, so much so that before I do December, I get hold of YouTube and I tell them, okay, I'm going on. And if this name comes up, just make sure it's nuked in a hurry. I don't have time to nuke it. I'm busy collecting money. So you see, they wanted you. Sakura, have you ever heard me tell the story about the lobsters? Because to me, this is a really important thing to know and remember. Yeah, and the greatest revenge you can have is to succeed. I want to tell you something. I learned that a long time ago. The greatest revenge is not to get even. The greatest revenge is to succeed at whatever it is that you want to succeed at, and show that it doesn't matter. Sakura, I want to tell you the story about the lobster if you haven't heard it before. All right, so just let me know if you haven't, about the lobsters, why they don't have a lid on a lobster basket. Okay. All right, so here you go. Listen to this one. And, people like Jerry and Jody and everything who are there in lobster country, they will tell you about this. Lobster baskets don't have lids on them. And the reason they don't, Sakura, is that when a lobster gets brave and starts crawling up the side of a basket, the other lobsters crawl on top of them and then drag them down. So you don't have to worry about putting a lid on it because the lobsters are just going to keep dragging each other down. And you see, what you did is you said, I choose not to be in your basket. I choose not to go drinking and waste my money. I choose to actually work hard and study because I think being able to do that is a privilege or whatever it is that motivated you. And they didn't like you for that because they wanted you to go out and get drunk with them and waste money on, you know, junk food or whatever. You see, that's not being normal to them, right? You didn't fit in, Sakura. Well, Sakura, none of us handled it very well when we were young. So that's what I want you to remember when you feel that, and that feeling when they're doing that to you, right? Trying to suck you into to their life. I want you to remember I'm not a lobster. I can get out of the basket. And the way you get rid of them is to not play their game. And you don't have to be rude. You just go, hey, you guys go and get drunk if that's what makes you happy. I need to study. And I'm sorry that you think that's a bad thing. I'm the first member of my family that got a chance to do this, so I take it very seriously. And I'm not saying that you don't take it seriously. I just can't, get drunk and study. Whatever it is, tell your truth. I find, how many of you found that telling your truth actually works pretty well? Um, right. I can remember once, Sakura, somebody coming to me. I was doing a talk at the university, very big university. And I remember somebody saying to me, well, and forgive me for the racist that this is going to, it's going to sound racist, but I want you to hear where this was coming from. They were saying to me, well, it's not fair. All these Asian kids are coming over and taking all the top positions in the university, and we haven't got a hope. And I looked at them and I said, gosh, really? You know why the Asian children that come over are getting all the top spots in university? Because they are working their butts off to learn, because they are taught at an early age that this is a privilege, and how well they do in university will be a reflection on the family. They are not just doing it for themselves, they're doing it for the family. Well done, Becca. All right. And so I said, what you don't like is reality. You don't want to work as hard as they do, but you want to get their marks. Think about that. The reason they're getting the marks is they're going home and they are studying that hard. That's why they do better than you. A couple of them are gifted, we know that, but not all of them. The reason you don't get a shoe in there is you're not studying as well as they are. And it may be that they got better study techniques. I don't know what it is, but I can tell you one thing. They aren't just doing it for themselves. They're doing it to save face for the family. And do any of you know of what I speak here? Right? Because in so many Asian cultures, the firstborn or whichever child gets to have this opportunity. For those of you who've met my my son Dougie, he adopted me. My son Dougie, he was the firstborn in a Kenyan family. That makes him the chosen one, and the whole of his extended family saved money to send him to Canada to learn. Do you understand that, right? He got, because he was the firstborn son, he got all the support. And his job from the moment that happened, good night, Becca. Keep working. You're doing a great job, Becca. One step at a time. Don't rush it. Do whatever you're comfortable with. Big hugs. But here is the thing. His responsibility is to every member of his extended family, including his father, because he is the firstborn. How many of you want that responsibility? right? Just because you were the firstborn, not that you were the most talented or not because of anything else, just that because you were the first one. Yes. Hi there, Cindy. Welcome. Yes, and this is the whole thing. And by the way, I have been to Hong Kong. And I have been crushed on the Star Ferry. And at least two of the ornaments that I treasure in my life came from that trip. So fond memories. Yeah, so to me, it's like, the whole culture is different. And I agree with you that the North Americans see education as their right, not a privilege. So, Cindy, how did you find us? And welcome. And have you been a listener before, or did you just happen to, open the door and there we were? And we've got people here from Ohio, from Washington State. We've got somebody from Kansas. We've got people from New Hampshire and maybe Vermont. We've got, actually, I'm not. I'm normally sitting, and I'm pointing like this because I normally have the Canadian flag behind me. I know I'm normally sitting in British Columbia, but I'm actually in Washington State at the moment. I'm down here to do a speech. So how did you find us? I just I didn't love it. Cindy, I got to be quite honest. I did not love the Star Ferry. Oh, yep. Pat is in Arizona. Forgot that. Sorry, Pat. Give me another year, Pat. I'll get it. Maybe, maybe not. It's not my talent, apparently. So let me ask you, for those of you, because you've been on a long time. So here's the thing. What did you learn today? What did you need reminding about? Ah, there you go. So you know what shirt I'm wearing. Well, I want to tell you something that if you support Down December, I thank you. And oh, Erin, I am so sorry. I forgot you in California. You're quite right. I was talking about you today, Erin. I was talking about Baker. Yeah. And how I was waiting for the deliverance music to start because the tumbleweed. Yeah, never mind. Oh, I have such fun memories. So, Cindy, so great to meet you. Can you give us a bit of information? Sort of what age group are you? And I'm not really meant to be here. I should have stopped the broadcast about 15 minutes ago, but obviously I needed to meet you. And is there anything we can help you with? Ah, it started to rain here as well. Okay, no problem, Sakura. Good to see you. Yep, definitely that road. I remember it well. I was talking about that as well. What day? What day in August? 33. I remember that. Just. So what I'm trying to find out, everybody, you've been here for a long time. What did you hear this evening you needed reminding of? Yes, I had a feed. 24th, you are a week before mine. Well, 6 days. So you know when you have your birthday, it's time to wish me a happy birthday coming up. We Virgos are very special people, aren't we, Cindy? We are different. First time you've ever watched live. Well, I will let the team tell you what coming here and watching it live is all about. Why do you guys give up your time to watch it live? Seriously. By the way, have you been watching the replays? Because since I've started doing them on YouTube, now you can watch the replays. Yes, Sarah, you needed that little bit of truth, right? Sometimes when people are shaming you, it's the world. What I say, Sarah, when I go to bed, I go, let me have a look in the mirror on that one, And now that I'm not trying to, protect myself, was there any truth in that? You know where I learned that, Sarah, when I was a professional speaker, and everybody in the room could judge me, all right, because that's what they do when you are a professional speaker. Everybody gets to fill out an evaluation of you, and they cannot like you because they just got up on the wrong side of the bed. But what I used to do whenever I could is I would read the evaluation, Sarah, and whenever they said something really nasty, I would look at it and go, that's not nice. Is there any truth in it? And if the answer was no, I don't think so, I just let it go. Occasionally I'd look at it, I go, yeah, they got a point. I'd let it go. But at least I could say, yes, they got a point. Yes, so this is a new thing that we've done. But Cindy, just so that you know, on the replay, I actually cut, if it takes me a little while, but I will cut off the feed of the what people are saying. So that, I try and make sure that people aren't reading people's names and stuff like that. So you'll see where it says, the chat has been disconnected or whatever. Yeah, August the 30th. It's a day to remember, Cindy. And the other thing is, Cindy and Jody will put up a notice for you, but we do have a special mailing list of people. If you want to be on the mailing list, let us know. So what we do is it's a new thing, but we're going to have special sort of offers for people who are on our mailing list. We're going to have some special help for people who want to get some special help, one-on-one help, and things like that. So if you'd like to be on our mailing list, Jody's will cut and paste it up here for you so that you need to write to me though and tell me yes to the list, right? Because it's now international law. There we go. Isn't she wonderful? Well done, Jody. That it's international law that you actually ask me to be on a mailing list. I can't just put you on there. So just so that you know, you don't have to do it. I'm just saying if you would like to be kept informed of what we're up to, do that. Okay. So people, we all know there is no broadcast tomorrow, right? We all got that one straight. We're doing tonight instead of tomorrow. And how many of you know I'll probably be up half the night trying to sort out that stupid program? Well, you know something, Cindy? When you get to be as old as I am, you'll probably be helping somebody. I'm a great believer that if in life, if you've been fortunate enough to learn something, could you lean down and teach somebody else? It makes sense. It's not that I have all the answers. I don't, Cindy, but boy, I've been through some of the stuff. And I'd like to think I've been through it and in some cases survived. Not all of them, Cindy. There was some. There was some, Cindy, I didn't do too well on. And Sarah, are you still there? I have a little bit of advice before I go. Sarah, the next time you get into the shower to have that argument, I need you to go, get out of my shower. This is my time. I really don't have time for you. Good night, Pat. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And Jody, if I'm still writing to you at 3:00 in the morning, you know what I'm doing. And big hugs to you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring enough and sharing enough to help one another. I really appreciate it. Yeah, Sarah, I want to hear all about it next week, right? How it worked. It's like, yeah, go away. This is a private place. I don't want any negativity in my shower. Erin, Keep us informed, please. We want to know. Yeah, Jen, let us be so thankful for our age and wisdom. And we cannot get more life than we've got left. But boy, wouldn't you love to start again with the knowledge you have today? It's my pleasure, Jerry, and thank you for coming back. And thank you for caring so much about me and my car. I really appreciate it. Cindy, really great to meet you. Do come back again, honey. We got a group of really nice people here. And we talk about all sorts of stuff, and some of it's quite funny and some of it's quite serious. But we we really have some broadcasts that are really quite funny and some that really are quite meaningful. And I never quite know which is which. All right, everybody, have a super, super time. I'm going to get out of here before the host of this house, actually the owners of this house, come back. And we will see you soon. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, remember to look after one another, but please, first of all, look after yourself. Bye-bye for now.